Hello and welcome to this presentation. Firstly, I would like to introduce myself if you're watching throughout Papua New Guinea. First of all, my name is Shane Chinau and I will be your presenter for today. The company is KLIT, is a company specialized in building e-library and e-learning services in Papua New Guinea. KLIT has a total of 7 years experience in building e-library and e-learning throughout Papua New Guinea. Now, this presentation was specifically targeted to the FODE. Now, let us begin with our presentation on e-learning. Before I begin with my presentation, I would like to thank the following people in the education department. As you can look to your left, we have the FODE principal, who is Anthony Rayapen. I would like to say thank you, Mr. Rayapen, for giving us the opportunity to present you this e-learning service, which after this presentation we hope that we can work together. I would also like to thank the secretary, Dr. Uke Kombra, and as well as the education minister, Jimmy Yugoro, as well as the prime minister and the deputy principal for being with us to see this presentation. So I would like to say once again thank you, the education department and the FODE principal, for allowing us, for giving us this opportunity to do this presentation about e-learning. Let us begin with our presentation. Now, this presentation which I will be presenting to you now will come in line with the FODE Flexible Open Distance Education Strategic Plan 2021 to 2025. Now, it says literate PNG and leaving no child behind. Now, we hope this presentation, we hope to work in partnership with the FODE, that we can be able to build this e-learning which can be able to leave no children behind. Now, let us continue with our presentation. Before I begin with the presentation, these are some things, key facts I would like to start. It says free options for drops out. So basically, this is one of the things that the Prime Minister and the Minister states, that they want free options for the drops out. Now, we understand that in somewhere in the article, because of COVID-19, we have students being affected last year, that which resulted in 17,000 students missing out. So basically, we can see there's a big drops of students being affected, and because of COVID-19, they've missed out of these spaces, and the total space is 17,000. As you can see, it is a newspaper article. Now, because of this, we have to go into e-learning. Now, once again, thank you. Because of COVID-19, we were unable to see you face to face in Port Moresby to do this presentation, but that's why we had to do this presentation, for you to see that as a service provider, we are able to build e-learning for FODE, which can reach the mass populations of this dropout. Now, let us just continue with some important things here. As you can see, I have a current coverage of the telecommunication network. Now, what this coverage is, it's basically indicating that these are the coverage available throughout Papua New Guinea. Now, in order for e-learning to be effectively used by this mass population, we must have this coverage in place. And already, as you can see in your screen here, this coverage are already available throughout Papua New Guinea. Now, with e-learning, we can be enabled to digitize those learning, to create an e-learning for students to learn anywhere and anytime. Now, let's just continue to find out some important facts about this coverage here. So, as you can see, it says the digital access in PNG. What it's telling us is that this is currently the digital access. Now, that report was extracted in 2010, and I believe these facts or this data has increased by now, because the presentation that I am doing now is the is on July 2021. Now it says mobile key facts. As you can look here, it says total number of unique subscribers, and it gives a total number increasing total number of 2.5 million plus user subscribers, and I believe that number has increased up. And as you look to your right hand side, you can see 900,000 plus. That's the total number of mobile internet unique subscriber. What it is, it's telling us that we have many people using the internet, and we have many users are subscribing to this network, telecommunication network. Now with the e-learning and with this right kind of information, we can allow this e-learning can be accessed by the FODE students anywhere throughout Papua New Guinea. And that's what this presentation is all about. It's about showcasing what we can do, or how we can work in partnership with FODE to create this e-learning system. And as you can look in the statistics here, we have a increasing number of users accessing the internet. Now let's just continue with some statistics here. So as you can see in this graph, we have a graph indicating the black line that is increasing. It shows the unique subscribers. So as you can see, it shows the year. Now as it gives a prediction that as you go to 2025, there will be a number of increased subscribers subscribing to the network. And the red line indicates a mobile internet users or subscribers. So as you can see, from 2010 to 2025, we will have a lot of people accessing the internet. So to come back to e-learning, is that with KL Information Technology, we can be able to build your e-learning content for the FODE. We want to work in partnership with you, FODE, to create those e-learning. Now we basically build the e-learning for you. We don't own the content, but we build the e-learning materials for you. Now this e-learning content can be hosted in the internet, and it can be accessed anywhere, anytime, meaning that once when we build a content and it's completed, you don't need a physical building or a physical tutor, or you don't need those documents in place to carry the teaching. Everything has already been digitized. It can be accessed anywhere, anytime, just by recalling back to the map of Papua New Guinea, which I've shown you, of the coverage of the telecommunication, the current coverage. As long as there is internet connection available in that area, students are allowed to learn anytime and anywhere. And just by looking at the line graph here, we can see there's an increased amount of mobile internet users or subscribers. So many users will be subscribing to use the internet. Therefore, KLIT would want to partner or want to show the FODE that we have the experience, and we can work in a way that we can leave no children behind, to bring this e-learning in that can be reached throughout the breadth and the length of Papua New Guinea. So let's just continue. Now, as you can see, this is the percentage connections of mobile technology. We have the 2G, 3G, and 4G. Now, in order for e-learning to be effective, we have to have 3G and 4G in place in order for e-learning to take place. Now, I believe PNG, we are doing away with the 2G and we are migrating to the 3G and 4G. So I believe these big telecommunication company are upgrading their infrastructure, upgrading the towers in place to cater for the capacity, because as you've seen earlier in the line graph, it gives you a increase. It doesn't show a decrease in the line graph. It shows you that there will be more users accessing the internet, and there will be more people subscribing to the network. So basically, they will have to do away with the 2G and upgrade to 3G and 4G to cater the workload. Now, once when that is in place, we know that students if they have access to this internet, they will have access to this e-learning resources anytime, anywhere. Now, let's just continue. I have here is a website. As you can see, you can visit the FODE website, at www.fode.education.gov.pg, and you can visit that website. Now, I understand that students who are registered in FODE will have to visit the FODE website. After visiting the FODE website, they will have to go to the course section, as you can see here. And underneath the course section, the students can be either grade 7 ranging to grade 12, depending on what course they want to upgrade their marks. So once the students are in this site now, they will have to select that course. Now when they select that course, it will download and it will come in a form of a PDF document. Now that PDF document can be viewed through any PDF reader. Now once that PDF has been downloaded, it's going to be open through a PDF reader. Now when that student have that document, he or she will have to travel to a physical location of the FODE center. I know that there are 22 FODE centers throughout Papua New Guinea. Now they will have to travel to the physical center of that FODE center, and after having that document, they must go into a physical classroom inside. Inside the physical classroom, there must be a physical tutor there to teach them that course which they want to upgrade their marks. Now, many times it's difficult for students because even though we have FODE centers, but sometimes there's not enough tutors in place. There's not enough tutors to teach these students, so it makes it difficult for the learning, the continuity for the learning to just continue because there are lack of FODE tutors in place. Sometimes there's not enough infrastructure in place, like physical buildings in place, or there's desks and tables in place for students to go and sit down and learn. Now that's where KLIT comes in. KLIT wants to introduce e-learning to the FODE that we can work with you to digitize your content. Your content is already there. What we do is, with the FODE, we work with your department. We work with a maths teacher. We work with a science teacher. We work with an English teacher. And what we do is we digitize that lesson to create an e-learning out of that. Now, what is e-learning? I've mentioned is that e-learning is students are allowed to learn anytime and anywhere. Now, when I talk about time, I mean that, for example, as you can see, I have this PDF document. Now, if the time for me for this lesson to have this lesson is in the morning in say 10 o'clock, I must be there in that FODE center, and it must be 10 o'clock sharp, and I must attend that lesson because that tutor will be there 10 o'clock. But imagine if a student living far away from that FODE center and she missed out, say, the lesson, and she came in around 11 o'clock. Now that lesson has already been taught already by the tutor, and it cannot be repeated the second time because you have to follow time. The students must follow time. Because that student was late, she didn't attend the lesson, it makes it difficult for her to keep up with the students. Now with e-learning, now we are allowed to take those lessons and create an e-learning, meaning that the students can access the lessons anytime. It can be 6 o'clock in the morning, it can be 7 o'clock, it can be 12 o'clock in the midday, it can be 5 o'clock in the afternoon, or it can be 12 o'clock in the midnight, or it can be early hours in the morning, like 3 a.m. in the morning. The thing is, the students can access the lesson anytime. Now, anywhere means that as long as there is an internet coverage or signal in that area, the students can be anywhere. She can be in Port Moresby, or in Manus, or in Vanimo. He or she can access the lesson anywhere throughout Papua New Guinea. So that's one thing good about e-learning, is that we can take this PDF document and we can create an e-learning out of this to make it accessible and available to students anytime, anywhere. Now, this is just part 1 of our presentation. The part 1 is I am just giving a introduction, introducing that we're a company which is KLIT. We build e-library and e-learning, and we have 7 years of experience building this. Now in this presentation is we want to showcase our service that we are flexible to work with the FODE. Because we're a small organization, we can work to your budget. Since we are a small SME organization which we build e-learning, which we provide this service. Now also I've mentioned that there's coverage already in place and it's going to increase in future. That's why to have e-learning in place, it will make easy for learning anywhere and anytime. So that wraps up a introduction of our part 1. We will move over to our part 2, which I will demonstrate how we've taken this PDF document and we will create an e-learning out of this. The e-learning will have presentation, video of the tutor, and attachment added into the e-learning. Plus we have digitized these practical lessons or quiz inside. So please let us move on to our part 2 of our demonstration of the e-learning. Hello and welcome to our part 2 of our demonstration for e-learning. The first part I've explained about the company plus the network coverage. Now today I will demonstrate a preview of what an e-learning looks like. Now here is the demonstration. As you can follow me through as I'm opening my machine here, I have this folder on my desktop. Now as you can see, I have this PDF document, this one here. It's a grade 7 mathematics strand 1. So as I'm opening up this document, it has a total of 192 pages. Now as you can see, this document here has been downloaded from the FODE website. If you go to Google and if you search FODE PNG, you will go underneath this section where it says courses and you will download this document. That's underneath the grade 7. Now what we want to do is we want to create an e-learning out of this. Now you might be asking and wondering, why do we need e-learning since we already have this PDF document? Now basically e-learning it's the same kind of teaching where you're inside a classroom teaching where you have a physical teacher who's inside the classroom and he has this course booklet and who's teaching these activities to you as a student. Now the difference with e-learning is you don't need to visit a physical location or you don't need to be in a classroom, but everything has been digitized. Now the good thing about e-learning is that you can be able to learn anywhere and anytime. It means that you can learn anywhere as long as you have a good internet connection. So I'll just show you an example here. So I'll just scroll to find a lesson here. As you can see, I'm just scrolling to just find a lesson, a lesson here. Okay, example, I have a lesson here. I'll just scroll up as you can just follow me through. Just gonna go up so I can see I have this lesson 1, comparing fraction. Now basically this is a PDF document. Now this document has to be, we need to have a physical tutor who will have to use this document to teach these 4 grade 7 students. Now here is the e-learning of that. Now this is the e-learning, this folder here. Now basically this folder is basically a HTML document. If you don't know what a HTML is basically a document that can be viewed through a browser. If you know what is a browser is an application that we use to access like websites. If you ever been to any internet, for example www.fodeeducation.com is basically a website, but that website is being built in a form of a HTML document. Now when it's an HTML document, it can be viewed through any browsers. Now just to come back to e-learning, basically is we have here is that HTML document. Now that HTML document, it's basically the content containing the e-learning resources. Now I have here is a PDF document. Now that PDF document can be viewed through a PDF reader. So it views up the PDF reader. Now we need a teacher or a tutor to use this document or course to teach the FODE students. Now I have here is a HTML document which is basically an e-learning content here. Now this HTML content or this e-learning content can be hosted in the internet, meaning that if we get this piece of content and if we put it to the internet, it can be accessed anytime and anywhere as long as students have an internet connection. Or if we take this content and if we put it to a local server, a server is just basically a computer. If we get this and put it in a server, students within that FODE centers can be able to access it locally. What I meant by locally is basically they're not connected to the internet. This content here is being placed inside a physical computer inside the FODE center, and it has been hooked up to, say, wireless connections or networks, making it available through the local area of the network. Okay, I'll just do a demonstration to open this e-learning content here. Now as you can see, when I open up the e-learning, it open up in this browser because, like I've said earlier, it is an HTML document, and that HTML document is only viewed through a browser application. Now browser applications are like Google Chrome, Safari, those are browsers. Now when you open up, you will have something like this. You will have the button indicating the play. What it does is that it's telling you that the lesson is about to start. So if you want to start the lesson, the e-learning lesson, you have to hit the play button. So when you start to hit the play button, you will see the instructor or the tutor's face at the top right hand corner, basically giving an introduction. At the same time, you will see on this screen here, it will show a couple of slides or transition explaining what is to be covered. At the same time, we have the tutor explaining, so you see some sort of visual happening on this side. So I will just hit the play button and you can have a look for yourself. So FODE PNG e-learning grade 7 mathematics strand 1 numbers and applications. Hello students, we will begin with our lesson on this grade 7 mathematics. So let's begin with that now. So please click the next button and let's begin with our lesson. So as you've seen and heard earlier, this is the e-learning. We are starting to begin with the lesson now. We have the tutor at the top is just giving a little bit of instruction here, introducing that this is the FODE grade 7 mathematics strand 1, and as you can see, I have this the screen of the tutor. I have some outline here. Basically the outline contains some different slides, or I say different section of what is to be covered by the tutor. And then I have below is the previous, and what the previous does is that I can always go back to a previous presentation if I'm not sure, or I can click the next button to go ahead in the presentation of the maths tutor. Also, I have the play button. Now what the play button does is that I can be able to play what the tutor is being presenting this lesson. I can always use the volume button here. If the tutor is speaking too high, I can always decrease the volume. I also, at the top, I have some attached resources at the top. So you can see I have some resources at the top, available at the top. So I can click resources. I have some attachments. So resources can be anything added on top. It can be in a form of a PDF document. It can be in a form of a Word document. It can be in a form of an MP3 or video. This basically comes as a supplement to support the teaching of the tutor. So for example, if the tutor have this booklet here, like I'll just click next. Now, first of all, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Shane Chinao. I will be your maths tutor for this FODE e-learning course for the whole year. So basically I will be tutoring you on maths for the whole year. Okay. So for this lesson we will start off with our lesson for maths. So let us begin. So please click the next button now. So let's begin with our okay, as you heard earlier, this is just an introduction introducing the tutor. Just for demonstration purposes, I've had to do this to you FODE. If you're a FODE watching this, this was basically what I did was I've created this lesson at the background. I put a welcoming picture of myself to make myself more presentable to the students. At the same time, I have my video at the back has been captured to introduce myself as a maths tutor before we can proceed on with the e-learning. So one thing good about this is that we can add video inside as well as pictures to make it more realistic to the students, so they will feel that they are actually in a classroom, or they feel that they're actually attending to a lesson. So as you can see, I'll just begin by clicking this here. So basically I'll just click the next button to begin. Now substrand 1, fractions, introduction. You have already learned with fractions. I believe you all learned fractions. So I'll just read this out. It says that you've learned something about fractions in your grade 6. That's true. In this substrand, you will revise some of the things you did in grade 6. So this is basically a revision of what you've learned in grade 6. But now you're in grade 7, so we will talk more about fraction. And you will learn many new things about fraction. So in this lesson, as I take you through to fraction, you as a grade 7 student will know more about what is fractions. It says something like, whilst our exposure to the number system so far has dealt mostly with numbers, so I'll just pause that. So as you can see, I have a introduction. The tutor, Mr. Shane China, is giving an introduction about the substrand 1 fraction. Now one thing good about this is I can always use the pause button to pause my these lessons inside here. So I can use the pause button. I can say, for example, if I want to use the toilet, I can go use the toilet, then I can come back again, then I can hit the play button again to continue with my lesson. Come across figures from time to time where we use fractions and cannot be avoided. So that's true, students. So one thing good about this is that, like, if I was accessing this during the day, say for example 10 o'clock in the morning, and then if I have another student in the night, he can always attend to this e-learning because it's accessible anytime and anywhere. Now if I didn't hear what the introduction was all about, I can always click the reload button. As you can see here, I have this reload button. It can basically go back to the starting point of the tutor explaining again, because I didn't pick it up properly. So I'll just hit the reload button again just for a demonstration purpose. Now substrand 1, fractions, introduction. You have already learned with fractions. I believe you all learned fractions. So I'll just read this out. It says that you've learned something about fractions in your grade 6. That's true. In this substrand, you will revise some of the things you did in grade 6. So this is basically a revision of what you've learned in grade 6. But now you're in grade 7, so we will talk more about fraction. So that is clear. Like, I can always go back to the tutor speaking again. Because one thing good about the e-learning is sometimes the tutors are speaking in the classroom. It's sometimes difficult for them to go back again to talk again, because sometimes the students they didn't pick it up, they didn't pick what was said early on. So with the e-learning, it makes it easy for the student to always click the reload button. When the students click the reload button, it will reload what has been said, so the students can hear the message or the teaching the second time, the third time again, to fully understand what the teacher is saying. So that's one thing good about e-learning, is students can hear this teaching over and over again to fully understand what the teacher is presenting to them. So let's just continue. So as you can see, the introduction here has been extracted from this PDF document here. I'll just scroll down. I believe it's at the top. Here, it's been extracted here. So as you can see here, I have this substring 1 PDF text fractions, and I have this text here. It says introduction, the picture of this teacher pointing, and then this text here. All has been included inside the e-learning. Now I can always use the scroll bar at the bottom to just slide and see what's going to happen. Like as you can see, I have some more text popping up, or I can listen to the tutor speaking. So that's one thing good. Students can work and learn at their own time and at their own speed. Now with this PDF document, we will expect a physical tutor to run at his own pace. Now sometimes it's difficult for these students to play catch up, because it's very, very difficult for them to play catch up, because sometimes the tutor is speaking way too fast and it makes it way too difficult for these students to play catch up. Now with the e-learning, it makes it so easyable and it's so flexible, so students can be able to go the second time or the third time again to fully understand the message of that lesson or that teaching. Now let us just continue. I'll just scroll down to just give some more examples here. Now I have some examples here. I'll just use here. I believe I'll just use this one. Okay, let's check this one out. Common fractions are classified into the following classes. Now I'll just go back to the e-learning. Now this is basically a PDF document, like I've said earlier. Now we will have a tutor must be physically standing in front of the students and basically using this as a guide to teach the students. Now let's just check this out in the e-learning again. So that's our common fractions are classified. So I'll just go back to the e-learning and I'll just check which is it located. I believe it's located here, if I'm correct. Okay, common fractions are classified in the following classes. But before I show you these classes, students, I want you to remember these classes, because this is very, very important. As you move further to grade 8, 9, 10, you will be making mostly. Pause this and check if I'm in the right section. Common fractions are classified in the following classes. So yep, that's correct. So let's just hear the tutor speaking in this fractions lesson. In this grade 7 lessons, at least you have a fair idea of these common fractions and their classes, or they are classified in. So you can be able to just identify them, pick them out and say, okay, I know what is that, or what is this, or what is that called. Okay. Now, the first one is a unit fraction. It says here, a fraction where the numerator is always 1. So students, if you see a fraction, and if you see the numerator, so numerator is what again? Numerator is number at the top. So if you can recall, any number that is at the top is called the numerator. So let's just continue. So with the unit fraction, you have to remember that if you see the number that is always 1, it has to be 1. Then you know that that is a unit fraction. Okay, let us continue. Okay, next one is called a proper fraction. A proper fractions are fraction whose numerator are less than the denominator. So students, for example, numerator is the number at the top and denominator is the number at the below. So proper fraction again is telling us is that if you see a number at the top that is small and the number at the bottom that is bigger or greater, they tell you that it is a proper fraction. It is proper fraction. Okay, let's just continue. So as you've seen earlier, we had the tutor explaining these common fractions. Now you have here on this picture here, we have this blackboard, and then we have these two notes. We have the unit fraction and the proper fraction. And as I go back to the PDF document, this has been extracted from here. We have the unit fraction and the proper fraction. Now this is just a PDF document, as I've mentioned, sorry, the third time again. Now we need tutors to get this and teach these students, FODE students. Now when we come back, switch back to the e-learning, students can always use the reload to repeat what the tutor is saying the second time again. In that way, it starts to clarify to the students. So one thing about the e-learning, it is flexible. Students can be able to work at their own time and learn at their own time. And as you can see, we have this presentation here, a couple of presentations and slides that have been extracted from this booklet here, this course booklet. So I'll just scroll down and I'll just come to another one as an example again. So I'll just come to this one. It says study the diagram below to answer the question. So I have here is a diagram. So I want to hear a tutor in the e-learning talking to me as a student. So we will check this one in the e-learning again. Now this is the PDF document. Let's check it out in the e-learning. So it's study the diagram. So I will have to identify where it is. So I believe it's this one. It's in the number 15, this slide 15. So I'll select it and let's just hear what the tutor is. It's gonna explain about this line segment. Study the diagram below to answer this question. Okay, students, I have here is a line segment again, and it's telling us to study this diagram. So as I'm looking through this diagram, I see 3 lines inside. Now these 3 lines, all of them represents one whole, as I'm seeing in this diagram. Now students, as you can see in the first line, as you can see, it's telling us that, okay, the line has been divided into 2 parts. As you can see, the first one. Okay, the second one, as you can see, it's been divided into 3 parts. And the fourth and the last and final line has been divided into 4 parts. So basically, all of them are the same line. They're just one whole line. But it depends on how you divide them. So the first one has been into 2 parts. The second one into 3 parts. And the third one into 4 parts. So as you can see, this is in a fractional form. Let's just continue. And it says that in the diagram, you find that the line segments are divided into 2, 3, and 4, as I've mentioned earlier in my explanation. And it says, with 0 as the starting point, compare the distance to 12, 13, 14. Which point is the nearest to 0? So it's telling us that, okay, with 0 at the starting point, compare the distance from 12, 13, and 14. Which point is nearest to 0? The furthest from 0. Okay. Now, in this small explanation here, the closest would be 12, as you can see here. Just by looking at 1, 0 to 1, 1 is close to 0, so that means that the one closest to nearest to 0, it would be 12, because 12 is close to 0. Now, it's saying that which is furthest from 0. Now, just by looking at this line again, I know that 14 is furthest from 0, so the answer is 14. So that is clear. So when we look at a line segment, we are able to understand that when we have the number that is smaller, that tells us that it is greater. So you don't get confused just by looking at the line. Like, for example, I have a smaller number that is 12, but 12 is closer to 0, so that makes it greater. It is greatest. Now, when I see the number that is greatest and it is further away, that tells us that it is less because it is going way far away from the starting point, which is 0. So I believe that is clear. Let us continue. So David, that was just a tutor speaking to you about the line segment, and it's explaining the first line, which is being divided into 2, the second one divided into 3 parts, and the third one into 4 parts. So I can always go back and hear what the tutor is saying. So that's one thing good about e-learning. I can go back, hear this teaching the second time. With the PDF document, it makes it difficult because I will have to wait for a tutor to basically come to that physical site or that physical location and carry the training and explain that thing. But what if the tutor is not there in that FODE center? It will make it very difficult for the students to understand what this diagram is all about. So with the e-learning is, like I've mentioned, is that after once the e-learning is complete, you can always use it over and over. So let's just continue. Now next here is I will just go to some couple of questions now. Like I have here is a practical exercise. Now you might be wondering, okay, excellent, you've mentioned you did a demonstration of the e-learning, you've turned this PDF document, the text, and you've created this wonderful e-learning with video, voice, animation, slides, transition, and you made it a user-friendly e-learning for students to learn. Now, what if there is a practical exercise inside? How can that be included in the e-learning? Will they have to do the practical exercise and email it to the tutors? Or will they have to print out this and write it physically with a biro? Now, that's a good question here. Now, I will answer that inside the e-learning. So, let's just go in and I'll show you the demonstration of this. So, I have here is a practical exercise 1. Now, I will create a e-learning out of the first one. So, as you can see, question 1, this one, it is A and B. So, here it is in the e-learning. So I have here, as I'm scrolling down, we have incorporated the e-learning or the questions inside the practical exercise example. Okay, students, you can now begin with your activity for this practical exercise. You can do that now. Please begin with your exercise. So as you can see, it's explaining. It says, please do your exercise now. I can just press it the second time to hear it again. FODE PNG second time again. Okay, students, you can now begin with your activity for this practical exercise. You can do that now. Please begin with your exercise. So as you can see, I didn't hear it properly, so I had to just press reload to hear what the tutor is saying. So basically, it's telling us to do this activity. So this activity here has been extracted from this question here. So all of these are the same, A and B. As you can see in here, I have this one is A, question A. I can go to the it's asking me to select which answer. So each of the part of the rectangle is, and it's giving me of the whole rectangle. So it's like one, I can click the zoom to make it bigger to see properly the rectangle. So the rectangle has been divided into how many parts? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'll just minimize that back again. And it says each basically I know that it's representing 1. So I'll just select this option. Each of the part is 1/6, so I'll select 1/6 and then I'll click submit. One thing good about this is if the students get this wrong, it will give them an incorrect notification every time when you select an option or an answer, and if it gives correct or incorrect, the e-learning will also display a notification. So I'll just click submit for us to see what notification will we get. So as you can see, it says correct. And then it gives a small little text at the bottom saying, that's right, you've chosen the correct response. Now, as you can see on the bottom, it shows that 1 is tick. So there's some couple of questions here. As I look at the top, as you follow me with my arrow, it says 1 of 18. So they are basically 18 questions in this e-learning which are attached to this. And these questions have been extracted from this. So as you can see here, it has been extracted from this PDF document. Now, let's just answer all of this to continue. So I'll just select continue. The rectangle is divided into 6 equal parts. 5 part of the rectangle is, it should be this one, 5/6. And then I'll click submit. That's question 2 now. That's the part B. Now I'll just click continue. The next one, it says, here is a fraction. The numerator of this fraction is, now basically this is more like a numeric question, so it will only accept numeric values. So for example, if I want to type some letters here, I'm typing letters, it doesn't indicate anything. But what if I'm typing numbers? So as you can see, it includes numbers inside. So this is a numeric question, so it will only accept numeric values. So the question says the numerator of the fraction is, the numerator, we know that the numerator is 5. Now let's just click submit, continue. Now because this is a demonstration to the FODE department, I won't spend more time answering all these questions because this is for demonstration purposes, showing you that we are able to create your e-learning. We can create true and false, matching, short answers, quiz. We can digitize them without FODE printing these printing materials and distributing to students. This all can be done electronically without any papers or ink. So I'll just quickly answer this question. The denominator of the fraction is 8, so let's just do submit. Just click submit, continue. Let's go to the next one. What kind of fraction is this? I believe there is a proper fraction, so I'll just type in proper fraction, then I'll just hit submit. Okay, the next one, what kind of fraction? That one was correct. What kind of fraction is this? I believe there is an improper fraction. Improper fraction. Make sure that your spellings are right, because when we build the e-learning, we make sure that the spellings are incorrect, correctly. If you type the spelling wrong, it's going to give you an incorrect answer. But also you can check your answer to see where you got wrong. So I'll just click submit. So it says correct. That's good. Let's just continue. What kind of fraction is this? I believe there is a unit fraction. Unit fraction. Okay, make sure that the spelling is correct. Unit fraction, and then I'll click submit. Now that's correct. Let's just continue. As you can see, it's 8 out of 18, so we have 10 more. So let's just speed it up. What kind of fraction is this? I believe there is a mixed fraction. Yeah, mixed numbers. There is a mixed number. So I'll just click submit. Let's continue. That's great. Let's just continue. What kind of the fractions are the following? I believe there is a proper fraction. Let's just continue. Proper fraction. Okay, now I'll just try type an incorrect answer to see. Yeah, since we know that this is a proper fraction, I'll just put T and I'll just skip out the I. I'll just put O and N, and I'll just hit submit, because we want to get an incorrect answer to see what is the response. So I'll just click submit. So as you can see, we got it wrong. So I'll just check the answer here by clicking this result, and it says, okay, the correct answer is proper fraction. And it says that if I write them in smaller letters, I will still get it right. Or if I put the capital letter in front of P and in front of F, I will still get it right. Or if I include all the capital letters, it will still get it right. So as you can see, students can always go back to check where they got the answer wrong. So I'll just click continue. The next one, it says, in each of the following pairs of fraction, which is the smallest one? So this is basically telling us which is the smallest one. So I believe 7 over 11 is the smallest one. Let's just select submit. Just continue. In each of the following pairs, which is the smallest one? I believe it is 5 over 2. So I'm correct. Okay, that's incorrect. You see, I got it wrong. So I can always go back and find out where I got it wrong. Let's just continue with our question to speed it up. Which is the smallest one? So the smallest one is 2 over 7. Just click submit. Okay, that's good. Now in each of the following pairs, which is the smallest one? Okay, the smallest one is 7 over 18. Just click continue. Now in which of the following is the smallest one? Now the smallest one, I believe it is maybe 10 over 25. Let's check this out. Okay, that's correct. Now the next one, we are, as you can see at the top, 15 over 18. We are about to finish. Now this question was extracted from question 5 here. I'll just go back to the PDF. Now 5, where is it? Okay, yeah, there it is. So as you can see from the PDF document, I have this question 5, and it says arrange the following fraction in increasing order. The first one is done for you. And as you can see, we have A, 1/8, 1 over 36, 1 over 24, 1 over 5, 1 over 40 equals, and then it starts to arrange them. The first one has been done for you, and it says in increasing order. So as you can see, we have 1 over 40, then followed by 1 over 36, then 1 over 24, 1 over 8, and 1 over 5, and it's showing it in increasing order. And now we have this B, C, and D, and E to do. So let's just go back to our e-learning and let's try to arrange them. Now this is more like to arrange them, so we have to arrange them properly. So to arrange them, I'll just move this. As you can see, I can just move those to arrange them. So let's just do this. So the first one is the first one would be, I think it will be 3/21, and then 7/5/4. So it says that 3/21, I believe, increase in order. So I believe this would be first, okay, second, third, fourth. Okay, let's just check this out. Okay, that gives us an incorrect answer. So you see where I got it wrong. 3/21 should be first. Now that's one thing good. In that way, it helps us to learn and understand. So in that way, we don't make the same mistake again. So I'll just click continue. Arrange the following fraction in the increasing order. Because like I am not focused, I am doing this because of demonstration purposes. I'm trying to show the FODE that we are available to create and digitize your questions for your lessons. So let's just do this one quickly. I'll just do this fast. Okay, let's just arrange this. I believe which the greatest would be 19/20, and followed by 7/11/4. So let me just check it again. It says increase from the increasing order. So we have all these numerators are the same in the increasing order, so I believe that should be okay. So that's wrong again. As you can see, made a mistake again. So increasing order. Okay, now I'm start to get the hang of it. So it starts to show us clearly. So I'm starting to understand this. Let's continue. The next one, increasing order. I believe this would be first. This would be second. This would be third, fourth, fifth. This should be okay now. Let's click submit. So they have it. With the e-learning tool, it would be good because when students they make a mistake, they will be able to learn where they got it wrong. In that way, it improves them and help them in the learning. So let's just continue. We have 17 of 18 questions. We have the last one to go before we finish off our demonstration of the e-learning. Okay, the next one is as you can see, it's here. So let's just continue with this. Okay, 6. Okay, let's just check this one out. 6/35, 6/9, 6/6, 6/9, 6/17, and then 9/25, 7/9. So it says increasing order. So we have to show me. Let's just check if it's right or wrong, because just for demonstration purposes, we have to speed up our presentation. So as you can see, it's correct. Now one thing good about this is once when it's finished, you can always view your results. Like there's this view result option here. What it does is when you click the view result, it links you to another page where it shows you the pass off marks. As you can see, I did not pass because I've set in the e-learning, I've set off the cutoff mark at 80%. Now my score is 78%, which I did not pass. Now I can always click the review to go back to review my questions inside the e-learning. At the same time, it will help me that in my next lesson I can improve my scores, because basically the e-learning is just transparent. We can set off the pass off mark at 50%, 60%, whatever percent, but just for demonstration purposes, I've set the percent to an 80% cutoff mark. That's a pass off mark. But after sitting through this doing this quiz here, this was basically extracted from these activities here. As you can see, practical exercise here, this one. Now we've created this e-learning. Now I can click the review and I can review the quiz again. Like it's the question 1. I can go back to review each of those questions to see where I got wrong, and at the same time it could help me to improve. Then we are finished with the quiz. Now I'll just click next. Students, we have come to the end of our lesson on fractions. As I've mentioned, you have already revised fractions in your grade 6. This is just a review of fractions of what you've learned, and we will begin with our lesson 2 the next time when I see you again. Goodbye from now. So there you have it. We have turned this PDF document for the grade 7 mathematics strand 1 on fractions, and we created this wonderful, exciting e-learning out of this. As you can see here, the e-learning was done easily without any problems to go to a physical location in a physical site to see a physical tutor teaching this lesson. Now this can be done anywhere. So after watching this presentation of the e-learning, now we will see the importance of how e-learning can be used to deliver these lessons to students throughout Papua New Guinea. Now this, what we have just did, we have just scratched the surface of e-learning. Just imagine we can take this e-learning to not only FODE but to other schools can tap into this system. It makes it so simple. Now with the tutor, you will have more time. Once when we digitize your lesson, like I've mentioned earlier, to digitize the full e-learning lesson, it took us 9 hours to build that. Now once when it's completed, students can access the lessons this year, next year, or 3 years down the line. So that's one thing good about e-learning. Once when it's completed, you don't need to do your lessons over and over because everything has already been digitized. And one thing good about the e-learning is that we can add resources inside, as I've mentioned earlier. So inside the lesson, you can add supplemental resources like audios, videos, documents to support that lesson that you are teaching to your student. So teachers of FODE schools, if you are watching this right now, what I have just demonstrated is a powerful tool that can help you with your teaching. Sometimes it's very tiring for you tutors to stand in front of the blackboard and repeat the same thing over and over, the same repetition over and over to the students, and it consumes a lot of energy. Now with the e-learning, it makes it so simple to you. As a service provider, KLIT, we can work with you to build your e-learning content for your subject. So if you're a maths teacher, we can work with you to build your e-learning content. If you're a science teacher, we can work with you to build your science content. If you're an English teacher, we can work with you to build your science content. We are just a developer to build this e-learning content. To produce this e-learning content, we must work with the teachers in order to produce this e-learning content I have just demonstrated to you now. Now, this was extracted from this PDF booklet, and this is just a topic from the fractions lessons. Now, after looking through this, you will see that it is so simple for you to deliver your learning throughout Papua New Guinea. So there you have it. This is part 2 of our presentation demonstrating you this e-learning, and then you will have your part 3, which we will do a review summarizing what I have just presented in part 1 and part 2. So the demonstration of this part 2 has come to an end. Thank you and goodbye. Hello and welcome to our review. Before we end our program for e-learning, firstly, beginning of the presentation, I've introduced that KL Information Technology is a company specialized in building e-learning content, and we are available to assist FODE to build your e-learning content because we are specialized. I've introduced the company KLIT. Then I further moved on to the coverage. I've mentioned that as you can see in the network coverage, we are going to have an increased number of internet subscribers in the future, because in every year there will be an increased number of people having the excess of internet. So since coverage there will be an increase, then it would be best to move into e-learning, so students can be able to access these materials anywhere, anytime. The next thing that I've mentioned in e-learning was that how we turn a PDF document which was extracted from the FODE website. Now that PDF document was created into that e-learning presentation which I have just demonstrated to you earlier, and then also we did some exercise plus the practical lessons, that everything was done digitally without needing any tutor, or without needing any physical paper, or without visiting any physical location or building. As long as I have access to this e-learning, I can be able to access it anywhere, and that was just demonstrated on the mobile, on the laptop. And then the next thing I mentioned was duration. To build an e-learning content, we took that PDF document from this maths grade 7 fraction. Now for lesson 1, it took us roughly 9 hours to build that e-learning lesson, as you've seen earlier, which we did this lesson. So to build an e-learning lesson, it will take us 9 hours. Once when it's completed, you don't need to do your lessons over and over because everything has already been digitized. Students can always access the lesson anytime, anywhere. So like I've said, to build the e-learning, it will just take us 9 hours. Now once when it's completed, we don't own the content. The content belongs to the FODE. And then I mentioned the benefits about the e-learning. Now with the benefits, it's like, as you've seen through, as I've been doing the e-learning, I don't need a physical building, or I don't need to attend to a physical tutor. I don't need a physical paper. Everything has been digitized. Now that's the benefits. Now one thing good about this is that the FODE, you will be able to save cost. You'll be able to save cost on building new FODE infrastructure like buildings. You'll save cost on buying new desks or tables or chairs. You'll save cost on hiring tutors. At the same time, you will save cost on providing accommodation for these tutors. At the same time, you will save cost on providing their logistics. So once when the content has been digitized, it will just take 9 hours to digitize. Once when it's been digitized, it's already been done, it's already been completed. Now that can be accessed anywhere throughout Papua New Guinea. Like I've mentioned, that as long as there's internet connection throughout Papua New Guinea, as long as you have a good internet connection, you will be able to access your lesson. So say for example, if students was accessing the lesson and for example, if he went outside of the coverage, the lesson will dispose itself. So anytime when the students comes back to the coverage, he or she can always resume the lesson which she missed out. So that's one thing good about the e-learning, is that students can be able to learn anywhere, anytime. Like I said, they can learn anytime, like in the morning, in the afternoon, or early hours in the morning, say like 3 a.m. in the morning. So with e-learning, those are the benefits. FODE, you will benefit if implementing this e-learning. We are available to assist you, to support you with this e-learning. And with the e-learning, this will basically save cost. We only build the content with the guide of your courses, and after building the content, we give the content back to the FODE. So we don't own the content, we actually work with you to build this content. So there you have it. This is just a review of what I have just presented earlier. Now contact. After seeing this presentation, you feel like you want to contact us, you can contact the operational manager, Joe Chinao. This is his contact number, 78453014. That's the telecom. Then you can contact him through his Digicel, which is 71563367, or you can contact myself at 79347481. After seeing this presentation, and if you want us to have some discussion regarding the price or regarding the e-learning itself, and if you want us to have a discussion, please contact us through this contact, and we can do our further discussion through Zoom. If you're familiar with Zoom, we will have our further discussion through Zoom, discussing any things that you want to ask regarding the services that we offer in eLibrary. Now, we hope that this presentation that we have just presented can be a tool that you can use to leave no children behind. That's what the strategic plan is all behind, literate PNG and leave no children behind. And we hope that what have we just presented is a service that we can work with FODE to bring this learning to the remotest parts of Papua New Guinea. Thank you and goodbye.